Oh shit, I need to open that. Hey Arson, thanks buddy. Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you, it was my pleasure. Oh yeah. Yeah, those Helios are nice. You're gonna nut all over those Zealios too. The Zealio build turned out really, really well. One of my best Zealio builds, I think. Putting them in a V2 Jane certainly helps. That plate is awesome. Hey Arson, yeah, absolutely. Have a great night, buddy. I'll give it just a second here before we get rolling. Got a couple mail day items to go through today too. Picked up a couple of new caps and Deep Space came in today too. I think we'll build up the Kira tonight with Deep Space. I think it'll look pretty good. Gray looks good with everything, so hard for something not to look good with this build. Yeah, so tonight we're doing a really cool looking plate too for this Kira. This is a cool board. I like this thing a lot. So there's the plate. Here's the PCB. Go ahead and take the anti-static bag off. Probably should test the PCB real quick too before we roll into the configuration of this thing. Let's give it a real quick go. test this PCB real quick. How's audio tonight, guys? Let me know if anything sounds off. Open up real quick. Grab the switch hitter, which is A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Where is it? There it is. Oh, what do we got here? Is anything mapped on this? What does Kira use? Does Kira use bootmapper? Do I need to map a profile by default? Or should this be working? Just took the PCB out of the bag for the first time. We don't seem to be powered on. Oh, hold on, I heard that, right? Yeah, I hear the PCB turning on. What is... Hey chat, what is the Kira PCB use for boot mapping? I could Google that real quick, but my switch mappers. Let me just double check here. Put the PCB down. Make sure. That's why we test these things. Yep, switch mapper's working. Let's go into trusty old Google here. Kira80 PCB. Keycac. Kira. No. Feel free to chime in, chat. I'm watching chat too as I go over this. I'm trying to find the bootmapper agent that the Kira uses. What's up, what's up, what's up, everybody? Chat, if you're just tuning in, we're trying to figure out what boot mapping agent the Kira80 TKL uses. I've got my PCB over here. However, when I plugged it in, I'm not getting anything from here. You know what we can do? I'm not getting anything from the PCB when we plug it in. So let's do a little bit of testing here. First, let me move the case out of the way so I don't accidentally scratch that at all. I'll show that case off again here in a minute. Greetby says the boot mapper. Did you try opening the app and connecting? All right, let's try this. Yeah, thanks, super user. No, I did not yet. So let's go ahead and unplug all the keyboards we have that use bootmapper, which is everything on our desk. And we will open bootmapper and see if any of the keys are bound. It could just be that the TKL PCB, it might just have shipped to us without any mappings on it. Where am I? The bootmapper client is in here. And keyboard drivers, bootmapper. There we go. No. super user. I'm so sorry to hear that, man. So that's an acrylic mid layer that was just cracked? No. Okay. Download. Specified device was not found. Download. Maybe it doesn't like my Yarbo cable? Let's try, even though it was just working, for my Jane PCB. Let's try this cable. Download. Hold on. Hold on. Stop the music real quick. So I can actually see. Not see, but so I can hear. Okay. We heard it. Chat, you heard it. Error opening PS2 AVR GB device. The specified device was not found. Here, I'll turn it up so you guys can hear. Yep. So, I don't know if you guys can hear that on chat. But that is recognizing the PCB. I'm getting it. What is it actually getting recognized as? In Device Manager. Have to do a little bit of troubleshooting with this PCB before we start the build. Sorry guys, I should have paid attention to this. Yep, I'm about to check that right now. Device Manager. And let's plug this guy in. Okay. It is unknown USB device descriptor request failed. Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one. I have so many USB devices right now. Yeah, you got it, super user. It was the last one. Oh boy. Well, that's not good news. Yeah, unknown USB device descriptor request failed is the... Should I try an update driver on the device manager? Let me hit you up here in chat. Okay, let's take a look. I just hit you up in a DM though too, super user, so we can check. From visual inspection on the port, I don't see any issues with it. Looks to be in good shape. The traces going down to the controller here look to be in good shape as well. The front of the port looks fine as well. Let me see here. See if I have any wiggling within the port. No, the inside of the port is not wiggling either, so I think that this port is fine. Let's do this. Looks okay from like a visual inspection. I know that that is a terrible camera angle and that it's kind of blurry. Let me see here. See if I can go to editor here so I can see what you guys are seeing. Oh, come over here. The USB port looks to be in good shape. Joints look fine. Traces you can see on the bottom of the board. Heading down here. Is there anything it could be other than a hardware issue on the PCB? Let me just double check here too real quick. Make sure you're not chatting with me. Oh, you're chatting with me in DM. Let's see here. Check the soldering resistors to port a microcontroller on the microcontroller itself. Show me the solder joints in the port. That crystal worries me a bit. It's almost 100% hardware issue, that or bad flash. Check the soldering on the resistors between the port and the microcontroller. Yeah, we can check that. Do you want me to do the do you want me to do a multimeter on the resistors there? Because that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that would be those three here. That crystal you said worries you a bit. What do you mean when you say crystal? Times like these, I wish I had a magnifying glass. Putting the lighting to the test here in my new office too. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now with the crystal. The 4-pad rectangular guy near the microcontroller. Okay, let's see here. Let's do this. Let's do. This will be a lot faster, Michael. Let me do this. Let's see if I have the compute power required to, and if you don't mind, let me check real quick. Hold on a second. See if we can troubleshoot this thing and get this PCB working. Okay, let's do this. And all right, you guys should be able to see the same thing that I'm showing to Mike here in video chat. All right. Mike, can you hear me?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yep, sounds good, man. All right, let's see here. Let me grab my my video set to the wrong settings, of course. That should do that. Okay, turn on camera. I wonder if it's, since it's being used in Streamlabs, if it's gonna get messed up here with me sharing my camera settings with you as well. It might not like that. Yeah, it doesn't look like it likes that. The delay might be a little crummy here then. Here, let me show you. So what you're talking about though is, and how much of delay do we have on stream? Let me know when you see me holding up my my index finger. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, Twitch stream is a little slow. Okay, let's do this. So you're talking about testing from these points here, these 5 points here that I have on the, let me get closer to the camera.
So two of them, the data lines, B plus and B minus, are going to go through to probably about 22 ohm resistors. and then they're going to go to the microcontroller. Actually, let me pull up the schematic.
Okay. Turn off this for a second, make it a little easier to see everything. So if you guys are just tuning in, the error we're getting when we plug this thing in Device Manager is device descriptor request failed, unknown USB device.
Right, which is typically a hardware error. Either it's something between the port and the microcontroller, or the clocking of the microcontroller, or the flash on the microcontroller is just bad, and it's not actually initializing the USB device correctly. And you ruled out the cable already, which is good.
Yep. Tried a different cable.
So the diagram here says that R2 and R3 should be 68 ohm. And this is just the stock boot mapper diagram.
Right.
I'm assuming they haven't customized it and they've just used the recommended schematic.
Yep.
So it's pins 2 and 3 that are the data lines. Pin 1 is power. Pin 5 is ground, and pin 4 will either be floating or grounded, depending on what they did.
Okay. All right. So where do we want to run a test from the
so
multimeter here?
Locate the two traces that are running from the port to two resistors that are near either the port or the microcontroller.
Okay, either the port or the microcontroller that are labeled what now? Because I don't have labels on this thing.
They may be labeled R2 and R3, but I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, so the tiny little resistors I have here do not look like they're labeled.
Okay, do any of them say 6-8 or a number that starts with 6-8?
Yes.
You should see two of them.
Goodness gracious, that is so small. Let me see here. Where's my... I wonder if the camera's going to be able to...
I would expect it to be 680.
Yep.
If my SMD coding is still in my head.
Yep. That's this bottom resistor here on the line. Yep. If that makes sense.
You should have one more. So two of them that say 680.
680 is there. And then I'm checking the other I'm checking the other resistors here because there's a couple others that are in that panel. So I have 0, 8, 9. God, this is putting my vision to the test. Let me get my phone too real quick and see if I can find the zoom option. Maybe help me a little bit with the phone.
Yeah, you should have a cluster of 7-ish.
Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right there. And then there's a couple others that are close by that traces from the microcontroller are running to as well. Hold on one second.
Yep.
Hold on, searching for my phone. I'll be right back, guys. Alright, yeah, run it all around creation. Yeah, I ended up leaving it upstairs. Okay. Alright, so let's see here. So we're looking for a second 680, right?
should be right next to each other.
Yeah, okay, let me see here. Ah, much better. I can see. Negative. I've got 1680 in that cluster right here. This one down here is 331.
Okay, so hold on a second.
And this one here is 103.
103?
Yep, so I got a 103 that's over here. If you can see my tweezers. 103 is there.
So 331 is an LED resistor, typically. That'll be at 330 ohm.
Let me see if I can make that a little brighter
So
too. Hold on.
That's probably for caps lock or num lock or scroll lock.
Okay.
Or, yeah, if I had to guess. And then,
Yeah.
you said a 103. 103 is a 10K. So that is probably your reset pull up.
Okay, so yeah, the resistor here, and I'm sorry, I know the camera's really dark. My lighting is still terrible in the office until I get these light boxes in. So this resistor here is the 103. I've got the 331 here below this cluster, but that actually, I'm gonna chop that up to an LED.
That's exactly what that
That's
is.
an LED.
Yeah, you'll see
Yep.
331s on every LED.
Yep, that's an LED.
So you can
Yep.
rule those out immediately.
Yep. And then so here in the cluster of 6 to the right of the microcontroller, I've got a 152. Is that flipped? Hold on. Some of these are
152 would be your pull up for VCC.
okay. Yep. I've got a 152 again. I've got a 089.
089.
Oh no, you know what? That's 680 flipped. So there's the two 680s. So one of the resistors is just flipped. Yep. Yep.
Okay, so you want to test to make sure you've got connectivity from each of those.
Yep.
The side that's connected to the port is connected to the pin on the port. So just put your meter in beep mode and you're probing around.
All right, so we're looking for. Let's see here, beat mode.
And it was literally right next to the other one, wasn't it?
Yep, literally. I should have trusted you. I should have put that together. That the resistor was just flipped upside down.
I would probably make the same mistake.
089 and 680. All right, so
I see you've got two. So the bottom, what's in the picture as the bottom, those two glass diodes there. Those are the Zener diodes for the data lines, and then there are those three small three-legged devices right next to them. Those are the three transistors for your LEDs.
1, 2, 3 transistors, the black ones. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
The one of them's going to be for. Actually, I might be wrong on that. Two of them say USB drive. Think about that. What's N2 and one's N2 and one's N3, and then the other one is LED FL, which I'm assuming is your main front lighting.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So these 1, 2, 3. Yep.
The two 680s. Did you probe and see if they're connected to the port?
Yeah. So the two 680s is what we're looking at first.
Yes. So just touch one of the leads to one side of them, hold it there, and then touch.
And we actually don't need power for this, do we?
No, you don't want power for it.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so we're looking for the leads from the microcontroller to the 680?
No. First the port to the 680s.
Oh, damn it. That's a bummer of a trace too, because I need to
Well, you
figure
just
out
touch
which
one side of the resistor.
Okay.
Hold your probe there, and then touch each one of the pins on the port one by one.
Yep.
Did you find which one it is?
Well, easier said than done. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
I think it's. What? Yeah, I found it. Okay. Hey, Chubies, what's going on, buddy? Yep. So it's the middle center port on the USB that goes to the bottom 680.
Okay, so move up to the next 680
All
and see
right.
if you get a beep on a different pin. And you should only get one pin to beep for each one of these.
Right. That makes sense. I got a readout there on that. Yeah, you can see it. Yep, there we go. Top left for the upper 680.
And none of the others, right?
Right. Correct.
All right, now test the other side of each of those 680s.
Okay.
I'm making the assumption that you picked the right side, which may be the wrong assumption, but you want to test the other side of each of those to, let's see, it's going to be DAT D minus and clock D plus, which is bad and dumb names, but that would go to pin 11 and pin 12 on your chip.
Okay.
So there's going to be an index mark, a dot on the chip.
Yep.
Find the dot on the chip.
Yep. On there.
And read the text, as if it was facing the right direction. Like if you look at the word Atmel.
Yep.
Next to the dot, right? The dot will then be in the upper left corner of the chip. Okay.
Yep.
And so, with respect to that upper left corner, the pins you care about are the lower left pin on the left side, the bottommost pin on the left side.
All right, so that guy there.
And
yep.
Where was the point of the dot first?
The dot is on the top left there. And so
Okay.
then the lower left, you're saying, so that bottom corner there.
I think that's correct, if the stream delay is lining up where I think it is.
Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so that makes sense. And then that goes to, and that would make sense that trace, I can kind of see it, that
trace
goes to
should
the
go to
lower.
one of those two 680s, and then the
Yep.
The leftmost pin on the bottom row, so literally like kitty corner to where that first pad was that we were just talking about, will be your next pin that you care about.
Okay, let's see if we got something here.
Yep.
Here, let me take these off so I can get a little bit more leverage.
While you do that, I'm going to confirm with the data sheet. 2A. Going off the footprint on a diagram, which could be bad.
Yeah, I got you. I definitely have a reading in here somewhere. My numbers are jumping, but I'm not. It's not the lower left. You said so. So here is on the microcontroller. Let me give you guys a little bit of a closer look to see what I'm doing here.
Footprint.
God, that lighting is so bad. Okay, so again, man, this would have been a great stream to have the new box lights for. I'm gonna have those ordered probably here in the next couple of days. All right, so there's the. You're looking at text orientation up right now on the stream, just about. So the text faces, the text top is here, bottom is here, and the dot is top left here.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so it looks like you were looking in the right corner, which is the corner that's closest to the
bottom. Yeah, so to the bottom left here. Yep.
It should be the bottom left. Now I'm still looking at the.
Okay.
Is it?
I'll just go. I had number readouts hitting on that at one point. Let me try and get.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, you should see either
I had
near 0 or near 68. as far as your readout is concerned. And those are the right two pins, by the way.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Yeah, let me check here real quick. I'm getting a readout on pin. It's more towards like this area on the microcontroller that I'm getting a readout. Like it's somewhere, it's not quite top, it's not quite bottom right. So if this is top left here where the dot is, top right here, here's the bottom left, here's the bottom right. It's somewhere around like, it's somewhere like maybe 2 to 4 pins in on the bottom right.
So 2 to 4 pins in would be the USB drive for the transistors.
And so that's the bottom 680 that I'm looking at. I'm looking at the I'm going from.
You should not have a connection there.
Yeah, so let me see here. Let me see if I'm hitting anything else. You probably didn't hear it. I didn't get the beep after having found the correct one.
And those 680s go directly, they're in line in between that pin on the port and the pin on the microcontroller. So it should be.
Oh, yep, I found it. Okay, yep. So it's actually, it's on, so here's top left in this corner here. The left side here, it's actually the bottom left port. You probably said that. I was looking on the bottom row here. I was looking on the bottom row on the far left port. It's actually on the left row on the bottom port.
So left side, bottom pin, and bottom side, leftmost pin are the two pins we're concerned with. One of them is going to go to one of the 680s, and the other goes to the other one.
Yep, I got them. I've got them both identified now at this point. So okay. the top 680 goes to the bottom row far left pin from your orientation, and the bottom 680 goes to the left row bottom pin from your orientation. How it looks on stream right now.
All right, that makes sense. So next step, if those all tone out and was the resistance relatively low when you held the pin on there or the probe on there?
Yeah, let's take a look here. So yeah, 0 there. Yeah, 0 on all of them.
Okay, and then the other side of each of those resistors, test the resistance to the pins on the port, and they should be 0 as well.
Okay.
So your right of each of those resistors, right?
Yeah. So the 680 to the USB port.
Mm-hmm. Check those. Just make sure they're near 0.
Yep. I had a good trace there. That one's 0.
Okay.
Yep. That one's 0 as well.
All right. So it looks like your USB data line resistors are okay all the way through, right? So and if you go, if you test the left side of the resistor and the right side of the resistor, just put the probes on either side. Yep. You get 68 for each of those. We'll just check to make sure they're still in tolerance.
No, do you see that? That number's jumping a little bit for that bottom 68.
Yeah, you need to make sure you get good contact.
There we go, 74 on that one.
74 is not too bad. What about the other one?
74 on that one as well. I'm on 73 right now.
It's within 10%, so it'll live. All right. Okay. What next? The Zener diodes there. I'm not too worried about them. You got the VCC pull-up. So that 152 resistor that should be right next to there.
Yeah.
Can you check to see One end should be connected to one of your 680s.
Okay.
And
Yep,
the
I
other
see
end
that.
should be connected to power, which will be pin 1 of your port.
On the microcontroller, you're saying?
No,
On the USB. On the USB.
On the USB port.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, hold on. So let's check that. So the 152. Okay. Yep, that one traces out. And then
So
you say the other side of the resistor. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just which trace did you verify, the 680 or the?
I just verified the port side.
Okay, and
Yep.
now verify the 680.
Yep.
Connects to it.
Let's see here.
If you get a roughly 1500 reading on the multimeter, that's a good connection, because this is a 1.5K resistor.
There we go. Okay, so that one traced out. That means.
So your pull-up's there. Okay, that's good. And if you probe across it should be 1500, like I said.
Yep. It was a little low, right? It was like popping in like the 13 and some change, so like under 1400.
That's a little bit out, but it shouldn't be the end of the world.
Let me find that again.
Linear diodes, don't know that I care as long as they're not grounding things out. The other thing to check is your clock crystal.
Okay.
So
and that's this guy here, right?
Give the stream delay a second. It is.
Yep.
So you see those two capacitors right next to it?
I do.
Literally right above it. So they're each load capacitors that load the crystal. One side of each of them is going to connect to ground, and the other side of each of them is going to connect to the crystal.
Okay.
Each the side of the crystal it is on. And then from there, each side of the crystal also connects to the microcontroller. We'll test one thing at a time. So let's start with the ground side of the capacitors. You want to test continuity from the ground side of the capacitor to the ground pin on your port.
Okay.
Which will probably be pin 5. So
there's one good. All right, there's two good. Yep, both of them good there.
All right, and then the other side of the capacitors should connect to the side of the crystal that they're nearest to.
Okay. There's one. Had it, and I lost it. Probably there. I'm just not hitting it right.
Well, if it's real finicky and you feel like you're hitting it, that could be something that needs a reef.
Yeah. I could be missing it. Hold on.
And if we don't find any smoking gun here, then the answer is going to be to reflow friggin' everything.
There we go. Yep, that one's good. Let me just make sure I have a good contact point. It's on the bottom in here. Let's see here. Yeah, no, understand. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. That one's pretty good. Okay, cool.
So now the left side of, one of the sides of the crystal will connect to the 7th pin down on the left of the microcontroller.
7th pin down.
Which, in other words, is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th pin from the bottom of the left side.
Okay. Right, you are. That looks good.
Okay. And immediately below that pin, we'll connect to the other side of the crystal.
Yep, that looks good too.
Okay, we're running out of things.
From a
to
hardware perspective, yeah. I mean, I wonder if we're looking at a software issue here of the firmware not being flashed on it.
So that could certainly, I mean, it's not typical for Bootmapper, right? You
Yeah.
typically get a board that has
Yeah, I haven't seen that
a
before.
flash.
Yeah, I haven't seen that before myself.
Do some research here. See if anybody else reported anything.
So the owner of the board just sent me a DM a minute ago that says I did see a few people saying that they had problems with the build causing Windows to default to the tiny USB driver.
Huh. That's curious.
And I'm not I'm not sure if that would be a tiny USB driver that would pop up as such, labeled as such in the device manager, or if we're talking about something that, we saw, it would have the same title indicative of.
Yeah, the fact that it's saying that the device descriptor failed
Right.
is so low level that, it's not even to the driver stage yet. It's, I can't talk to the device.
Right. Watch after having us tested all the traces that it just works now. Let's see.
Yeah.
Like no problem the entire time. Let's see here. Nope, we're not crazy people. It's still the same thing. Device descriptor request failed. Is this an A87 PCB? Because Sire, you DM'd me a second ago. I wonder if you're still in chat. I do have a couple of A87 PCB spares that we can use if we want to just troubleshoot this one later. Let's see here. What just happened? Something just pinged. Law Cody, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Yeah, let me know what you want to do. I think I have. Let's line it up. Let me grab mine. Hey, so did I tell you, Mike? I got those capacitors in. We need to look at that cap swap here at some point. I don't know what your schedule looks like.
Yeah, totally.
Let's see here. I have a. Yeah, I actually have. I have a yellow. I have a yellow A87 with Liku Bootmapper client on it here that actually has stabilizers already tuned on it. I'll probably swap those out and put these stabilizers that I have up here on them because I tuned these up fresh for this build. Kind of matches my shirt. But we can use this PCB if we need to. This one's in fine shape. Pads look pretty good. I think this has only been desoldered once. I have a Heine PCB, I think, too, for a rainy day, if needed. Are you on the group buy page there, Mike? Still? Because I wonder if this is the same port cutout and capable of using the Heine PCB. Because that's.
It says it. I did notice that somebody mentioned that it fits a Liku. I have not.
Okay.
Somebody might have mentioned Tiny Bush PCB as well.
Let me search real quick the Heine Bush PCB on his site. He had an Excel spreadsheet that had all the keyboards that he had for sure compatible. Let me look. Heine H87 compatibility. Okay, H87. Doesn't he just have a website? Where is it? Where's your website, Heine? There it is. All right, Heine Bush. compatibility chart. Kira80 is... Oh, Kira80 is a theoretically yes. All stabs line up. Plus it's an A87 USB, but it doesn't sound like anybody's tested this one yet for the H87. Chat, anybody in chat have experience with the Heinebusch H87 PCB and a Kira80 TKL? So, and it's also up to, well, hold on. So I'm looking at it here, sire. It is, the USB port is on the right side. So there's the USB ports, and those do line up.
So I just finished searching the thread. There was only one mention of somebody having a PCB fault, and it was a smash port.
Yeah, we definitely don't have a smash port. It looks, from a physical inspection on the USB, it looks good. Yeah. So I mean, here's the. I'll show you one more time here if I can get a good focus. There we go. From a physical inspection on the port, it looks fine. And I know I'm going like.
Yeah, it definitely looked fine before. Like I said, the next step is probably to reflow.
Yeah, interesting. Hey, what's up, Rooster Cogburn? Yeah, no worries coming in late, dude. We are troubleshooting the USB issue on the Kira80 TKL PCB. We're getting a, what was the error code? Not error code, but what was the error message? Descriptor, device
descriptor failed.
Yeah, device descriptor failed when we plugged this in. And we've so far, what did we do, Mike? We did the 680 resistor. We did the 680 resistors. We tested the crystal and the resistors. Are these resistors above the crystal?
Those are load capacitors. So you tested, you tested the load capacitors, the crystal, the data line resistors, the data lines themselves. Only other thing left is like power issues and just general soldering or shorts.
Soldering or shorts on it. Yep. Interesting. Well, I'm gonna chop this one up to, at the moment, this would be well within the realm of a normal customer would just return this to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So let's go ahead and check and see what the owner of this wants to do. I believe you're still in chat.
Now, if they're going to send a replacement and they don't want this one back necessarily, it could be worth it to fix it, assuming it's not a horrendously painful fix.
Yeah, that's true. Well, so that's one alternative. The other is using one of the PCBs I have. I would get this to you at, I think, Sire, I think you are in chat and can hear me. You're chatting with me in DM right now. I will do either of these guys at cost. And right now, I mean, hell, I'll do this for free. I'll do this one for, I think the Heinebusch is like $50. I'll do this one for free if you want to do the Liku PCB, and this one's in pretty good shape. I desoldered this one myself with the H87, or what is it? The H87, the FR301 desoldering gun. So the pads are in pretty close to perfect shape, having been soldered once already. This is actually, the board this was in before was actually a Jane CE. And so again, I mean, these line up. They're both A87 PCBs. I see no reason why these stabilizers to not work, right? I mean, they fit. Bottom layout looks good. I mean, I'm looking right now, just about every switch seems to be lining up perfectly. Stabilizers seem to be lining up okay. So yeah, so either is an option there, or we can sideline it and get the replacement and work it that way. Get the replacement Kira80 PCB. We'll give him just a second here. I'm gonna take a quick second here. Hey Mike, thanks so much again, dude, for helping me troubleshoot. I appreciate you as always.
Yeah, no problem. If you want me to take a look at it sometime in the future, let me know.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, I'll hit you up too on the other cap swap we're gonna do. I have yet to take apart that I've yet to take apart that component. I need to actually get the circuit board accessible first, and then I'll hit you up once I know what we're looking at.
All right, sounds good. I'm gonna get out of here for now. Talk to you later.
All right. Hey, take care, buddy. See ya. Okay. All right. Okay, yeah, sounds good. So it looks like we're gonna do the Bush PCB with this build. So yeah, so let's go ahead and put this off to the side, and we will go ahead and get rolling with that. I'm gonna put this back in the anti-static bag it came in. So yeah, let's see what we got here. What time is it? 10 o'clock. We got sidetracked a little bit on this one. All good. I will put this back off to the side and in there, and we will, let me get some order restored here after having taken out all these PCBs. Make sure I put those back in a good spot. After having switched to the new office, I'm getting so OCD with placement on everything. All right, so we're good with the multimeter. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that, sire. We should have. I should have plugged this thing in and tested it a bit more earlier before starting the build tonight. I had no idea we were going to run into PCB issues with this. But let's go ahead and get this build back on track. And by all means too, let me know. Yeah, sorry, real quick while I'm unpacking everything, you got another 5 minutes. I'd hate to do it, chat, but I mean we've gotten some good content already with troubleshooting that microcontroller and this USB issue. Let me know as well, sire, if you're happy with this. You know, from an aesthetic purpose, you know, you've got the red plate, and while the PCB is not going to be showing through too much, I mean, I think from an aesthetic, the black and red will look good. And you know, it's not like it's a polycarb case or anything. I don't think you're going to be seeing too much of the PCB. But yeah, by all means, if you want to wait for the replacement PCB to come in, absolutely. There's no pressure with, you know, buying the Heine PCB from me and moving on with the build. I was just throwing that as an option. Yeah, and I understand that too. So yeah, that's why I threw out the option of rolling forward with the Heine PCB. I'm gonna plug this in. Watch this one not work too. I'd say it's gonna work. We're lit up like a Christmas tree here. Let's go ahead and check the switch hitter real quick. Make sure we've got F8. Yep, I'd say the Heine PCB is good. We're looking okay here. Okay. All right, so let's take just a couple more seconds here too before we build this whole thing and then find out we're running into an issue somewhere else. Chat, cross-check me on this. Make sure we're not running into issues here that I'm unforeseeing. So our plate looks to be lining up pretty good. I will check our stabilizer placements here in just a minute, but I think from first glance that's looking okay. I think, here, let me check the space bar. Can this do, I have not actually tried a 6.25 spacebar with the Heine PCBs. Let's just make sure that lines up as well. Spacebar seems to be lining up there. I don't foresee any issues so far with stabilizer placement. Let's take a look at the case. I just want to line our case up here real quick too to make sure the port looks to be good. It's a pretty large port in the back there. These are just little, okay, yeah, a little dust, a little bit of dust on the bottom of the case. How does this come apart? Do I take the back weight out first? I have 4 screws on the bottom here. And then I have 2 screws and then a weight, similar to the Jane actually. Let me go ahead and take these screws out first. Wait. I just want to line the PCB up within the case as well, just to make sure before we build this whole thing that I just want to make sure that this PCB is gonna not give us any issues. So let's be real thorough with that. Let's get the weight removed. There we go. That would be the correct hardware for this. Yeah, I think it was like, I think the Heine PCB was like 50 and some change. So let me, I think it was like, I'll look up my invoice. I'll give you exactly what I paid for it though. Okay, cool. So yeah, there's the Thesis Camper branded Kira80 by Thesis Camper X Eve. All right. Move that over here. And actually none of the hardware was put in on the back, so I have just the 4 screws here. So it's really just being held together by these 1, 2, 3, 4 hex screws up here. And then the other hardware for it is right over in this bag off camera left. So thanks for bearing with me so far, chat. It's kind of a educational experience there. But yeah, not something we were anticipating originally. Okay, let's see here. All right, so what do we got going on here? This should be, okay, so it's top mount. All right. Don't see any issues with the port there. PCB certainly looks like it will fit in there. I don't think we'll have any issues with it. I'm going to take it one step further. Yeah, it is, isn't it, Rooster? It's a shame we have run into some issues here. But yeah, it really is. It's a pretty board. What I'm gonna do real quick, let me just move. It has a really cool side profile on it as well. I'll give you guys a little close up here. You can see that side profile is really neat. Hey, we always love throwing some love towards our good pal Heine Bush. It is a good looking PCB. black with these gold pins. You got a little bit of RGB there too for you. So yeah, this will be a good build. And it's perfect actually because I was just hoarding these PCBs. I have enough PCBs in the TKL format, I think, for all the other builds I have planned, plus then some. So you're not depriving me of PCBs. So don't worry, sire. You're good there. All right, so let me just put in the stabilizers. And I've already pre-tuned these, so sorry guys, I'm not going to be doing stabilizer tuning tonight. I use 205 G0 on the wires and the sliders, and then I also do super lube injected within the housing of the stabilizers as well. So that's the typical lubing process for stabilizers. I do that enough in VODs, and I did that because I actually wanted tonight to be a shorter stream. Okay, so those all line up and look good. What we're gonna do, oh, why is my whole monitor flashing? We're gonna just insert a couple of switches here. Make sure, oh, and let me change the battery out of my DSLR. Hold on a second, chat. I'll fix this. Oh no. I can hear my kid crying a little bit too from the other room. She's upstairs sleeping. She'll be fine. She'll be fine. Mama's watching her. All right. Okay, so what I'm doing just real quick, this will actually kind of lead us right into some stabilizer testing here before we actually do the build. But I want to also get these switches in. And I want to just get this plate mounted, and I want to take a look at how the plate fits with the PCB inside the case as well. And that'll be kind of the last. Oh my goodness, we're really bright. Where was that brightness before? That'll be the last thing that I really want to look at, just to make sure the PCB is going to fit, because Heine's Excel spreadsheet for compatibility on the H87 is stated should fit, so we'll make sure it does fit. So we're doing a standard 6.25 bottom row layout and a standard caps lock, standard backspace, standard 2U backspace, and a standard left shift. All right, for this build. Let's see here. These are all lining up. So is that the one, Rooster, where they have the shrink wrap, the heat shrink on the wire? I've seen, yeah. So I've seen that, but I've not done it, no. So how do you, let me see here. How do you shrink wrap? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so that's what we're doing tonight. How do you do that? Do you use like are they using like a hot air reflow station to do that? I mean, what's the method? 1, 2. Is it the right side or the left side when you're using a standard TKL? I think it's the right side of the, I think it's the right side of the pins. I think I have that built out, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4 down there, and then 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I've not. Yeah, have you used it before? Oh, I'll need to check out what Alex was doing. Was he showing those? Yeah, he was showing those in chat on yeah, that's interesting. I'll look into that. What was the result? Was it pretty good? Did he like it? My stabilizer tuning has been pretty consistent for the last, I'm gonna say, several months. I've been doing the same thing for a while. Nice. Well, and you probably don't have to use as much lubricant then as well, right? Okay, so we've got enough in here to test now. Let me go ahead and make sure we will mount our plate on a couple of points here. We should have all of our hardware here. There we go. Oh, I'm sorry guys, hold on one second. Let me get rid of switch hitter, we don't need that. And this is still looking really bright. Looks really harsh. There we go. Is that better? Denton Burton Jr. Hey, what's going on, man? Thank you. Yeah, so this is oh, I'm low? Here, is my, you're talking about my audio? Yeah, is my audio better now? I just moved my microphone a little bit closer, but yeah, that shouldn't be. Here, I'll just turn the gain up a little bit too. Can you guys hear me better now? Okay, cool. Yeah, let me actually move this a little further away, turn my gain up a little more. That should be good. All right, let me know if the audio is still a bit off. So yeah, the board we're building tonight is a commission for a client. It's the Kira80 TKL, and we're doing a little bit of testing here real quick on it just to make sure that our plate and PCB are compatible. And so we're using a different PCB than what would be normally found on this board. We're going with a Bush H87 PCB tonight because we were having some hardware issues with the original PCB that came with this. So I'm just going to mount our plate into the top case with just a couple of screws here, and we will check and see if our PCB has any issues fitting on the bottom of the case, which is right here. Excuse the fingerprints there, sire. I'll wipe it down here before I put everything back together. There we go. All right, so that's what it's gonna look like when we have everything built up. It is a pretty good aesthetic, I think. You know, you won't see the PCB too much, but nothing looks too bad with black and red, right? I think that's a pretty good look. The PCB that comes with it is red by default. And the port looks to have plenty of space in there. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. So yeah, sire, up to you. If everything looks okay from your end as well, I'll go ahead and continue with the build here, and we'll get rolling. I think it looks okay to me, and I think I can message Bush and say that We've confirmed his PCB does in fact fit with the Kira80 TKL. Sounds perfect to me as well. Let's go ahead and get rid of the top case for a little bit. Yeah, Heine does fantastic work. This is a great looking board if you ask me. Great looking PCB. Not a fantastic PCB if you need to do any troubleshooting because you can't see the traces for shit because it's black on black. But you don't need to do any troubleshooting because it works, right? Alrighty. So yeah, let's go ahead and before I forget and build this whole thing with stabilizers not screwed in, let's go ahead and screw in our GMK stabilizers and do some testing of the audio there and make sure that those sound good. Swap out the attachment to the Phillips head here. I did not screw these GMK stabilizers down yet, so let me do that before I forget. We've got a 6.25 right here. Oh, and I have just enough magnet on that screw to make it attach to the side and not want to let go. All right, catch that. Okay, there's that done. All right, so I think we're back into build mode now at this point, guys. Let's go ahead and cue up some music here. And turn volume down, play, turn volume up. There we go. We're back, fam. We're Gucci now. Yeah, it took a little bit of a sidetrack tonight on that, but hey, if you guys are ever wondering what's going on with your PCB behind the scenes, I was able to show you guys a little bit with the help of Mike how your USB port and your microcontrollers all line up and how those resistors run power and data lines and everything else to actually get your PCB doing what it should. What we ultimately found out tonight from troubleshooting the PCB that came with this board is that we seem to be running into either an issue where the solder needs to be retouched on some of those resistors or the crystal, something was just off, right? And then either that or the firmware that was flashed on the PCB, the original PCB we got with this, might have just had an issue when it was flashed. So a little bit of a QC issue. I mean, I think that probably could have gotten caught in manufacturing of this, you know, and so should be a pretty quick fix though for our client here. Should be able to get a return or some money back on that PCB. Worst case scenario is, sire, you can always just pick up another plate. Get somebody to cut another plate. The H87 plate's pretty common. And then you have another PCB for a build if you ever want to troubleshoot that PCB a bit more and figure out what happened with it. Okay, so we've got, sorry, I'm off stream a little bit here. We've got just about done. We are just screwing in our stabilizers here, guys. So before I forget too, let's go ahead and make sure. I don't think any of these screw-ins are bridging ports, but let me just make sure that I'm not bridging any of the connections. Here, let's see. Looks good, looks good, looks good. Okay, I was off camera a little bit there, guys. I was just running switch hitter again after screwing all those in, just to make sure that that looked good, which it does. And let me see here. Give me 1 second too, guys. I'll be right back. Let me just grab another drink real quick before we get into filling the rest of this up with switches. And so the to-do list here for the rest of the night, we're gonna fill up the rest of this PCB here with our Tealios. And then after that, we're going to start soldering and put it all together and get a little sound test going. I'll be right back, guys. Man, my office gets so warm when I close the doors. All right. We're back. Okay, guys. Much better. Let's line this up too real quick. So I've got a fun key set for us tonight. For the first time on stream, GMK Deep Space. And give me a second here, guys. Let me break these keycaps out and make sure that I have my switches on the bottom row in the right place. Imagine building keyboards on a regular basis and not knowing what a standard TKL layout should be. Aha, we've got the standard TKL layout here on the bottom of this. Fancy that. All right, so let's go ahead. All right, Trey, don't make me look crazy here. Come on, Trey. Are you talking about the stabilizers, Rooster? Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I always like mounting them. Just real quick so we can do some testing. Man, look at that keycap set. That looks pretty good. I haven't decided in the long run if I'm gonna hold on to these keycaps, but I like them for right now. Oh yeah, I know. I feel like I think I've turned all the delays off on my stream, and yet for whatever reason, there's still a pretty nasty delay. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I hate that that's the case. I wish that there wasn't. It made it especially difficult when we were troubleshooting earlier tonight with Mike on camera. I at one point tried to share my screen with him in Discord, and I was not able to cast two video sources at once, so he was reliant on the video lag as well for when I was sharing my screen with him, trying to troubleshoot this. All right, so correct me if I'm wrong, Sire. That is the bottom row layout that we are looking for tonight. Just making sure that that's what you want. I think it looks good. I'll mute my music here. And we will do a little bit of testing here with our stabilizers. Make sure those sound good. With having my music running, I think they sound pretty great. I'll just check and make sure we're not picking up on any rattle in these stabilizers here. Put these switches and keycaps on here. We're doing standard here, and we're doing tab, and we're doing tilde, filling all those. The beauty of having a GMK keycap set in a tray when you're streaming makes it so much easier to put keycaps on. Not having to search through a bag for the right keycap. All right. Nope, we're not doing steps. We want a standard caps lock for this one, if I remember correctly. Likes to have it a little closer for his control key binding. All right. So here we are. There we go. Oh man, look at that. This keycap set is not a good match for red, but it'll get the job done. Are you joking, Rooster? I don't think it's a good match. I think the gray works perfectly. Like, I think the actual keycaps with the case look awesome, but with the plate, it's definitely a little bit of a conflicting color there. It'll get the job done, though. All right, so yeah, purple and red, not the best. All right. It serves the purpose for what we want, though. I'm making sure I have all my switches in the right spot. Let me go ahead and mute my music, and we'll take a listen on our stabilizers. Make sure these sound good. We'll get the microphone about 1 Huey away. That's a little bit of movement between plate here. Hold on 1 second. I heard that in the space bar. What do you think, chat? I think that sounds pretty good. I think we're ready to move on to some more switch installation. I'll let you guys chime in on your opinions there on the sound. I think we're good though, right? Is everyone in agreement that those stabilizers sound pretty juicy? Turn my music back on here. Feel is one thing with keyboards, but acoustics, that's everything. Speaking of acoustics, these new Tealios V2s are phenomenal when it comes to the acoustics, actually. Sound much better than the version 1 of these switches. So chat, was everybody fine with the sound of those stabilizers? I think we're good, right? They sounded pretty good to me. I think we're good. So the only thing I didn't do with the stabilizer is sometimes I will plug up my headset and I'll actually get a closer listen with my microphone, monitoring the audio. I think they sounded alright. I'm happy with it. I'm rolling. So on our to-do list, guys, we've got the rest of these switches to install. Then from there, we will be checking, make sure all the pins are in place, that we didn't bend anything when we installed them. And then we'll do some soldering. From the soldering, we'll finish dressing the keyboard and GMK Deep Space tonight, and then we'll do a couple typing tests. Make sure everything sounds and looks good. We got off to a bit of a slow start this evening with some PCB woes, but we've recovered with the help of our Heinebusch PCB here. I'm gonna have to reach out to Heine and see if he's got any more of these. I've been hoarding PCBs, but it's always good to have a couple extras with no purpose slated for them for a rainy day fund. Or in our instance here, what was it? I can't remember. Can't remember the name or the issue we were having with that PCB at first. The message we were getting. Oh, so Rooster, what have you been up to, man? What's your next build? You got anything on the docket upcoming? me see here. What's going on? Okay. We're getting close, guys. So who's going to KeyCon in T-2 weeks? Who am I gonna see there? Yours truly will be there in person. I cannot wait, to be honest. I am looking forward to some good eating up in New York City. Need to figure out where I'm gonna go eat. I want to get some good authentic cuisine. Check out what Streets in New York has to offer. Maybe try and track down some Korean barbecue or something. See if I can get some Korean barbecue on, maybe some ramen. I was talking to a buddy who had a handle on a couple of really good ramen spots in New York City. The venue for KeyCon is going to be right in that Chelsea Manhattan district, and so it's in a pretty good central spot. So we'll have lots of good food options. Making sure I didn't have any rattle. I think we're good. Oh no. That one needs to be pulled. The one with the keycap on it needs to be pulled. There we go. We got a pin bent here. Oh, nope, that's not the one I wanted. Man, is my chat working? I feel like I have a decent amount of people in stream tonight, but chat's pretty quiet. What's going on, guys? Don't be shy. If you guys are new to keyboards, feel free to ask any questions. Let me know what you got on your mind. Ask for recommendations, advice, anything at all. I might not have the best insights, but I built a keyboard or two in my day. Let's see here. Okay, this is back. Bear with me here for just a second, guys. We're going to break out the soldering iron in just a minute, and we'll get going with that. However, I just want to make sure that all of our pins are in a good spot from these switches before we get into soldering. I don't want to have to get interrupted with pulling switches out in the middle of that. Our pins look good. We got extra switches here. We'll put those back in the bag, restore some order, put the tweezers back over here. And let's go ahead and get the soldering iron out. There we go. Okay. We'll get this warmed up. Hako always warms up nice and quick here. And there goes the temperature. Take that up to 675 degrees. While that's finishing the warm up, which it's just about done, we're hovering at around 500 right now. We will go ahead and get our fan plugged in. If I can find. There we go. Imagine holding an almost 700 degree Fahrenheit soldering iron in your teeth as you move your cables over to the right and left. Might not have been the smartest idea, but it's all good. We'll get there. All right. That looks good. That looks good. Move that back. Let's move our keyboard back so we don't get any flux on that. All right. There we go. I'll try and get you guys a good angle here. What in the world? So, do I need to refresh chat? I have almost 40 people in here, and I haven't had a single line of chat go through in quite a minute. Can you guys hear me okay? Making sure audio and everything sounds good. I know I've got a fan that's probably creating a lot of noise at the moment. Sorry about that. But I just want to make sure my chat is good. I've refreshed it once already. Just want to make sure I'm not missing any messages from you guys. Twitch might be messing up on me. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. While I go through the soldering of this, I'll update you guys too real quick. A couple of updates for the stream. I did just move recently, and so this new office that I'm in, I am in the midst of building it out still. So I'm gonna wait to do some soundproofing in the office until I figure out what it actually sounds like once I have all my furniture in here. I do intend on either having a standing workbench behind me on the wall back there, or perhaps a bookshelf. And so I haven't decided what I'm going to put there yet, but once I do and the room fills in a little bit, I'm just going to make sure if, I still get any echoes or anything like that I then will soundproof it and make it sound better. And then other than that, the big thing that I want to accomplish even sooner is getting some box lights in here. The office that I was in before had really nice lighting. I had great overhead lights that really provided a great lighting for the camera. I really feel bad. I've had to turn the ISO settings way up on my camera. It's created a really grainy sort of look, so I do apologize for the camera quality not being as pristine as it's been in the past. We'll get that sorted out though here in the next couple of days. As soon as Amazon decides they want to actually ship me the items I've ordered. The first couple of shipments I had come in through Amazon as well seemed to go in through that private third-party contracting delivery companies. Oh, let me tell you, out of the 3 things I've ordered so far to the new address on Amazon, 2 of the 3 of them have been delayed. I hate it when they use those third-party contractors. So now that we have the bottom row done, and it's looking straight, and let me just give you guys a quick example. So you can see all these switches here look nice and straight. Nothing crooked, nothing looking off on this bottom row. Now that that's done, and we also have this row done, we're just going to start working our way across all these other switches. At this point, since I have all 4 corners in, as well as the edges, let me correct that. I don't have the edges done yet. Let me do this edge real quick. Once you get the edges done, then you can kind of just work down the line. Work down the line, soldering each switch in one by one. So I think the soldering is actually the part that makes the most people nervous about building keyboards, when in fact it's actually one of the easiest parts of the process. Practice makes perfect, as in all things in life, but the soldering is actually pretty simple. The tuning of your switches and stabilizers is probably the most important part to building a keyboard. And subsequently, the part that should be taking the longest. Our stabilizer tune tonight was done off camera, but typically that process takes me about a couple minutes per stab. And I really make sure I have a good coating of lubricant on each of the sliders and then also the wire that goes into the stabilizers. You really want to make sure that's in good shape so you don't get any stabilizer rattle on your enter, backspace, shift keys, space bar. You want to make sure those are nice and muted. All right, so now our edges are done. We're ready to kind of just go from left to right on this thing. So without further ado, we'll just get into it and we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. And then we are ready to dress up the board, get it into this case, and do some sound tests. It's a minute since I've used the V2 Tealios. I'm excited to have those dressed on a board again. Yeah, my chat is like broken. I haven't had anybody say anything in a while. Let me refresh chat here real quick. Test. Yeah, these look to be going through. You guys are just quiet tonight. That's all right. Does anybody see any group buys or interest checks that they're interested in lately? I think the last time we were on stream, we noticed a couple of GMK sets, one of which really caught my eye. That GMK Dracula is a really good looking keycap set. What do you guys think? Have you all seen that one? Let me see here real quick. 2 seconds, guys. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, let's go ahead and finish this up. What in the world just happened there? Wow, I just fed a lot of solder onto the end of that. Oh, I completely forgot. Oh man, I've got an hour of good TV tonight. So, have you guys been catching up with and watching, or keeping up, I should say, with that new show, that miniseries on HBO, Chernobyl? It's really interesting. New episode tonight. So did anybody go to the Chicago meetup that just happened a little bit ago? I saw some pictures from that the other weekend. Looked like it was a good time. Hey, there we go. What's up, Denton? So what kind of delay are we working with here? When you said, yep, I see it, what did you mean by, yep, I see it? Oh, are you talking about Chernobyl? I just double checked a second ago too. Let me see, do I have stream delay settings set? Because I've been doing gaming a little bit ago, but I don't think I have a delay set on the stream. Let me just double check here real quick, guys. I'm sorry, hold on, let's see. I'd like to get as little of a delay as possible, obviously. Let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. No, no, no. Let's see here. Where is... Let's see. I don't see... Where do they have that set? Where do they have it set to see what your delay is? I see places that you can like reduce delay. Yeah, so it's options in here. Server automatic output. Let's see here. Yeah, I think I have my video and everything set to as low a delay as possible. But yeah, it still seems like the delay is pretty bad. Yeah, I'll do some more troubleshooting here into that in a little bit, guys. Yeah, in the meantime, let's go ahead and roll on. Alright. We're getting pretty close. We got we got 3 more rows to do. I'll stay focused here and we'll make our way to the end of this build and do some sound tests. For those of you guys that don't solder too regularly, or if it's you're about to tackle your first build, it's about a 3-second count on each pad. So, touching the pad to getting the solder on it to taking the pad or taking the gun or taking the iron off the pad should be about 3 seconds. So, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and that one's done. And I'll get a close-up on the joints and everything here in just a moment as well to show you guys what that should look like. And we can also critique my soldering work to see if I've made some shitty joints on this build tonight. Hopefully not. But we will find out here in just a moment altogether. The trick to soldering these things is first and foremost using good solder. With a good lead base. Alright guys, we got just about 2 rows of switches left. I do that just occasionally, push down all the switches just to make sure we've got good contact within all the switches in the middle of the board as well. Alright guys, one more row of switches to solder in, and then we're ready to dress this board up. Keyboard streams running the makers and builders Twitch section tonight. We've got a, let's see here, right? Makers and builders. Makers and crafting, yep, let's see here. Yeah, lots of cool stuff going on there tonight. Thanks for tuning in though, guys. I appreciate it. If this is your first time viewing, we're building a Kira80 TKL tonight. I'm just about done soldering in the switches, and here in just a moment we'll take a look at my soldering work to make sure all my joints look good, and then after that we'll dress the keyboard up in some keycaps and put it in the case and get some typing tests going on to make sure it sounds good. Appreciate you guys tuning in. By all means, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Keyboard Q&A always included with every one of my streams. Let me know if you've seen any cool interest checks or group buys, any new mail days you guys have coming in. I was too excited to put GMK Deep Space on something. So that's why, even though it doesn't really match our plate tonight, because we've got a gray case, I'm very excited about putting GMK Deep Space on this board. All right, we've got everything soldered in at this point. And let me just take a quick little peek here at all the joints. I'll show you guys what you want to look for. So with soldering on these keyboards, you want to look for the tiny little Christmas trees is what it should look like, right? The joints should look nice. Not too much solder, no bubbling on the top of it, you know. These are some pretty good joints. Sorry, my camera's having trouble focusing. Yeah, but those are what you want your joints to look like. If you have too much solder bubbling on top of it, you know, that's not good. If you have not enough solder and then you're not getting a good contact point, that's not good. So you kind of want that middle ground of enough solder but not too much. So yeah, let me go ahead and get a better angle here. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and plug in here and make sure on our, I'm gonna plug this, move this off to the side. I swear, I feel like my chat is broken tonight. This is the most number of viewers I've had in a little bit, and since really moving to the new office, this is the most number of viewers I've had, and is my chat not refreshing or something? I don't know what's going on. Anyways, thanks for turning in tonight, guys. Let's see here. So we've got switch hitter. Let's make sure everything looks good here. There we go. So Heine PCB coming through in a clutch for us tonight. Cool. I don't think this one's bound, but that's fine. Cool, looks good there. All right. Go ahead and get you guys some close-ups here of this in just a moment. Let me go ahead and get the get this mounted in here. Oh no. So this is a top mount variant keyboard, so we are going to be screwing the plate we've got into the top case of our keyboard. So if you can see what's going on here, there's these points on the case that screw in here. We've got 2 corners in at this point. We've got another 6 mounting points for 8 total. 4 on top, 4 on bottom. Oh, let me fix the camera. Give me 2 seconds. Finish mounting this in here. Okay. that, there's that, there's that. There we go. Should be mounted in there now. Before we cover it up here, I'll give you guys another close-up. So there's the close-up here of the Kira brass weight from the inside of the case. And here's the back of it. So that's what the computer or the keyboard looks like from the back side. There's another weight that goes in here. I'll show you guys that in just a second. Let's go ahead and finish putting this together. So how much do I charge? So I'm built on an hourly rate right now. It kind of varies build to build, but generally it's about $20 an hour. I do not include, the one item that I do not include for building is the switch tuning. And so you'll need to either tune your own switches or outcharge or outsource something like that. But then everything else, like the stabilizer tuning, the build itself, soldering everything in, all of that's covered. And I cover all the raw materials to do that as well. So all the stabilizer tuning. So what you provide to me is the keyboard, the PCB, the plate, which typically those will all come in the keyboard kit that you purchase. And then the switches and stabilizers. For stabilizers, I recommend GMK screw-in stabilizers or cherry screw-in. And then I will tune those up with the lube and making sure that they sound great. And then I will do all the soldering. So I cover all the raw materials for soldering as well. I do desoldering, soldering. I can help with troubleshooting issues with keyboards if something's broken. Pretty much the full spectrum. If I can't figure it out, I have friends who can help me who more than likely can figure it out. If you were tuning in earlier in the stream, we had issues with the PCB that originally came with this, and so I had a friend of mine, Mike, on stream helping me out and troubleshooting it, helping me trace some of the resistors and making sure that we didn't have a hardware issue that I could just easily fix. We did not, and so we actually built this with the Heine Bush H87 PCB instead of the PCB that comes with the Kira. I actually had one of those PCBs on hand, and the client was in chat as we were building this earlier in the stream. He's, I think he's since logged out and gone to bed. He's left me with the charge of finishing up the build here tonight. I will follow up with him in the morning. But yeah, so I used this H87 PCB to complete the build here tonight. Charge on that wasn't too bad. The H87 was about $50 plus or minus some shipping charges, and so I'll give him that hardware at cost. And he can figure out the RMA process involved with the PCB he got originally for this board. So switch tuning involves taking apart one of these guys, which is what's built in the keyboard, and there's lots of guides on it. Why am I not focusing? There we go. There's lots of guides on this sort of work on YouTube. But essentially you take this apart, and the switch is comprised of a housing, which is this clear part. The teal part is the slider, and there's a spring in there. The spring in this one is a gold spring. You can kind of see a little bit of it through the housing since it's clear. But those components, you can modify them by lubricating them, or not. It's up to you. Some people choose to not lube the switches. I think it provides a better experience, but entirely up to you. And so you can do different things to them. Different types of lubricants are available. You can do different, techniques to, some people just kind of through experience do different things and find preferences. It's all based on preference. You're gonna get a different acoustic and a different feel from different lubing techniques. Yeah. My preference on lubing kind of varies from board to board and switch to switch, but in general, I like a thicker lube for linear switches, and I like a thinner lube for tactile switches. Yeah, that's right. Yep, so when I say tuning, that's what I mean when I say lube. Tune, lube, yep. That is correct. So we'll finish getting these keycaps on here in just a minute. And these are, so this client actually preferred to not tune their switches. So these are stock Tealios. You can see on this Kira80 this side profile, which is just so cool. I love that side profile. I don't know if you guys can see it too on stream. There's a little bit of an engrave on the top part of the case here as well. I'll get a close-up of that here in just a minute. Haha, Visionaire. I know, right? We're cutting away from the mold a little bit, tuning up a board that's out of our typical repertoire. Rest assured, I do believe I am tuning up a 910 on stream later on this week, so we'll be back to our TGR ways here in next stream. But for tonight, we're working on the Kira80. Happy to be actually able to complete this one. We ran into some hiccups with the PCB earlier in the stream. Had to do some testing on that and ultimately had to swap to a different PCB. So yeah, Denton, all good questions. I'm actually looking at putting out some additional content myself on my YouTube page here in the coming weeks. I'm well overdue to put out my own switch modding guide, as well as some soldering and stabilizer tuning modifying guides. I think that there's definitely a good amount of information on YouTube for that type of query currently, but more information as opposed to less is always my opinion. Okay, so yeah, there we go. What do you guys think of GMK Deep Space? I think it looks pretty darn good. I think we've got a sharp board here, and I'm very happy to state that our PCB and everything fit in there. We shouldn't have any issues with the mounting points on it. So yeah, we're looking pretty good. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. Time for a typing test. Yeah. All right. let me get my headset on so I can hear what you guys can hear. Make sure it sounds good. This actually helps me hear it as well because the naked ear only picks up on so much. Oh yeah, get your estimates in. We'll see how quick we are tonight. Let's see if I can find the PCB point. Where are we at here? Am I flipped? No, I'm not. I'm flipped here. There we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and switch here to turn that on. All right, cool. I can hear myself. Let me turn the music off. Okay, let me get a display capture running as well, guys. I think we have this up here last time, and then we had that there. Okay. I think we can actually bring this down a little bit. Okay, guys. It feels good. All right, let me turn myself up. Okay, guys. Little ASMR for everyone. Move my microphone a little closer. Okay, that should be pretty good there. Alrighty, here we go. Redo. Woo! Alright, let me see here. What did I have? Where did... Here we go. I had not the proper bump-ons, but I had some bump-ons. So let me put these on here. Hold on one second, guys. I wish I had the proper size. But these are gonna help. And I don't mind wasting them because I have nothing slated for these bump-ons. And the client, I believe, has his. It just didn't get sent to me. Oh yeah, that looks good. There we go. I just felt it moving just a tiny little bit, and so the bump on is going to help with that. Okay, let's try this again. Oh yeah. I think it sounds pretty good. So these are stock Tealios. And the one thing I don't like about stock Tealios is you get a little bit of that ping on the reverb of it. It's not bad, but it's gonna sound worse right now because you've got a microphone right on it. For the naked ear, if you will, LOL, it doesn't sound terrible. But because I have, you know, a microphone picking up on every little part of it, it's gonna catch that as my fingers slide off to the next key. It's gonna catch that a little bit. Where with something that's lubed heavy, you're not gonna get that as much. So, like here's with the tris. See, it's like it's a little more muted. Cool. Well, yeah, GG guys. Let's see here. All right. Okay, how's my volume? Is volume good? Volume good? Test, test, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. So yeah, so this concludes tonight's Kira80 build. I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Yeah, I'll be sticking around and chat for a little bit longer. By all means, if you guys have any questions or recommendations for future content, I will be rolling out some YouTube videos here shortly on how I tune stabilizers, my take on it, if you will, and a little bit of soldering tutorials to kind of help with a couple of tips and common pitfalls that people run into. Make sure you guys don't get any crooked switches or anything like that on your first builds. The next build we've got is probably later on this week. We're going to be doing a TGR 910 build, and so I'll give you guys a quick little teaser of what that looks like. If you give me just a second here, I will restore some order on my desk. Let's put the Kira down here, and my 910, my personal 910 is right here. We're going to be tuning up a PCB and a plate for that board. It is a client build, but I believe I will probably house it in mine just temporarily to house it in mind just to temporarily get a little bit of sound test going on. The switches that we're going to be using are actually Tealios, V2 Tealios, like we did tonight. However, these ones are going to be lubed. So I believe they were lubed with 205G0. And so, yeah, with that all said, let's raid somebody. We've got a decent number of viewers here tonight. I think Man of Interests is still streaming tonight, right? Show some love to some other keyboard curators here. So yeah, I think probably the timeline for our next build is gonna be, I'm gonna guess Thursday. Verdict's still out on that, but let's guess Thursday. Let's see here. Is he still streaming? Man of Interests is indeed streaming. He's got some cool lads on there. All right. Let's go ahead and go to Creator Dashboard and raid. Here we go. All right, guys. So thanks again for tuning in tonight. I appreciate that. And you all have a wonderful evening. Let's go here and end stream.